Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Adam Interviews. We are so excited to launch this series because there are just so many wonderful people in our area to interview. Some of them you don't know. Some of them you walk into a restaurant and you go, where do I recognize that person? And that might be the case for one of the two people we're about to hear from, Katy Eberts. Katy, thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful series we've got going here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and with her we have Tracy Croft with Catholic Charities. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you for having us.
So one of the reasons we're doing this, of course, and we're going to talk about it in just a little bit, is the luncheon that's happening for Catholic Charities. It's the Blue and White Luncheon. It's a tremendous fundraiser for a tremendous organization. So we're going to go over all the great things that Catholic Charities does in our community, all the great details, and Tracy's going to talk about that in a minute. But first, Katy Eberts, as you probably remember, not only is she a wonderful singer, and that's the main thing about her that we know about, but Katy, a lot of us got to know you because of a terrible tragedy in 2023, and I think a lot of people are wondering, if they haven't seen you out and about, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thankfully. Could have been a lot worse. I'm very grateful for the recovery that I've had, and I think it's been a little bit of luck and a whole lot of hard work and love from the community, my family and friends.
I was a bit surprised when we were trying to schedule this. Someone had said, well, it might be difficult because she does PT, I don't know, like 5 times a week or something like that. I was 5 times a week for a long time. I'm 3 times a week now, but we do a lot of work outside of the PT gym. We visit the rec center to walk and do the stairs, my favorite, and we do a lot of work at home. The work is never ending. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but I have to say I was so happy when I saw your name on the Hoochie-Nanny lineup, and that was over the last weekend. How was that?
Yeah, you and me both. I was happy to see my name up there too. That was really an honor. It was something else. It was definitely a highlight of my musical career to be able to share the stage with not only local music legends, but music legends that I grew up listening to. My dad was kind of the rocker, and when I was riding in the car with him, we'd hear the Foreigner songs on the radio, and my mom kind of liked some of the 60s and 70s stuff, and so we'd listen to Andy Kim, and she'd sing those songs to me in the car. And cute little thing she'd do is anytime Andy Kim would say the word baby, she'd change it to Katy.
Oh. And
so it was just such a cool moment to be on stage playing those songs with him.
I asked Lou Graham when I got to interview him a few years ago, when did you realize that you had the voice that you had? And he said around 6th grade he would just be singing, and a chorus teacher heard him and said, we might want to take advantage of this. And it was kind of off to the races from there. When did you realize that you had a gift?
To be honest, I think I'm still trying to realize it at times. Strange thing is, I feel like I've always been more of an instrumentalist, and was probably somewhere in 5th grade I got a solo in select chorus, and I was really proud of myself for that. But it probably wasn't until high school where I had a lot of other people commenting on my voice and asking me to play songs, and I thought it was very strange. So probably somewhere around high school, and I feel like I'm continuing to develop it.
Because of who you are and your story and everything, you're going to be the keynote speaker at the Blue and White Luncheon at Catholic Charities. What do you think about that?
Again, and it's just an honor to be asked to do something like that, to be able to share my story and broaden the spectrum of people who hear it is it's really special to me, because that was the whole reason we decided to share was, if we could just spread hope to as many people as possible, that you might you might be in a bad position, but you might get better. And at the time we decided to share, I didn't know if I was going to get better or not. I just looked at my husband, Brian, and I said, but what if I do get better? This is going to be really, really important information to give people. And so now I'm having the opportunity at this beautiful luncheon to continue sharing the story, and I'm actually looking forward to meeting people and hearing their stories as well.
Before we get to that story, I want to transfer things over to Tracy here. Your thoughts on the selection of Katy as the keynote speaker?
Well, I think she's the perfect keynote speaker to inspire the people not only the people we serve, the clients we serve, but the staff who works with them on a daily basis. To hear her story will give them hope, and to hear about the resilience that she has will give the clients a sense of the same.
And there is a mic issue on your end. I'm going to go back to Katy so our wonderful producer here, Sean, can work on that for a minute. But I do want to hear more about everything Catholic Charities does. You mentioned, Katy, the story that you're sharing. If you wouldn't mind here, because it does bring such hope, sharing some of that with us now.
Sure. And, it's to try to make a big story, to try to tell a story that feels this big is really hard sometimes, and it's hard to summarize. But in a nutshell, I was involved. I was a passenger in a high-speed rollover motor vehicle accident on the thruway. I was on my way to a gig with my band, and I realized the van was going off the road, and when I realized that something bad was about to happen, my body just kind of, I think, went into protection mode. And I don't remember a lot after that until I woke up after having back surgery. I had broken my spine in half, and my spine was sort of like pressing into my spinal cord. And when I woke up, I realized that I couldn't move my legs. And it took a while to hit me, but eventually I realized that I had been paralyzed. And at the time I thought, am I going to come out of this? Am I not? Is this a temporary thing? Is this permanent? I think I was in shock for a few days. And to be honest, I wasn't given a lot of hope. And I think hope is an important thing. And I know doctors and nurses, they have a job to do. And I would rather have them be honest with me than sugarcoat anything. But it would have felt a little bit better if I had had a little bit of hope. And, that's why the community was so huge in coming forward and giving me that hope that I needed. And, eventually after several weeks, I did start to wiggle my toes a little bit. And I not only wiggled my toes, I was all of a sudden able to take my leg from a bent position and push it out into a straight position on my own. And something just switched in me. I knew if I was able to do that, I knew I was going to be able to do more. I could just feel it in my body. There was more that was going to happen. So I moved constantly because I was afraid if I stopped moving that I was going to not get it back. So I just kept, every person that walked into my room, I kept saying, do you want to see my new trick? Mm-hmm. And I'd show them what I could do. And every day it got better and better and better.
All you needed was that little bit.
Yeah, that little teeny wiggle. That's all I needed. That little wiggle in my toes.
And your whole, because now it wasn't just blackness. There was something there.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And so after that, I guess, did you still have to work on your perspective, the fact that how could this happen to me?
Absolutely. And there's still days I have to put myself in check and put things into perspective. And to be honest, I had one of those moments today. I just got out of PT. My legs are tired, and I thank God Brian was next to me. I tripped. I caught my toe on something, and I tripped, and it was just, every day I'm working on independence, and we we came up with a little expression in PTQ. I have to remember by QSI. It's quality leads to safety, leads to independence. And so that's what I think about in my mind. And today, I had a little trip, and it was just a very not subtle reminder that, hey, you still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. No, and you're proud. Look, I like that you're mentioning that, because I think a lot of people who go through these struggles, people are inspired by them, and they think that once they have the right perspective, it's all golden after that. But there are so many little frustrations and perspective shifts along the way. So
yeah,
I really appreciate that.
There sure is.
So Tracy, I think we have your microphone back here, and I just wanted to thank you for everything you're doing with Catholic Charities. And for those who don't know, what are the services that are provided by this organization?
It's a very broad array of human services, ranging from what we sometimes will say from birth to death. We have aging services. We have services for children and families. We have services for people with HIV, developmental and intellectual disabilities, traumatic brain injury, refugee resettlement, adoption. I know I'm housing. We also have a program for youth at risk to learn work. It's a workforce development program called Youth Build. So we touch a lot of people. We touch like 25,000 people in the community with the services we provide.
I know there are a lot of question marks out there. Is any of that funding at risk given the current state of affairs?
Nothing is certain. So yes.
So I'm guessing, like we've seen with other organizations that are sending out this message saying, given that we don't know what's going to happen next year or 6 months from now, it's important for the community to get involved. I can't imagine that is not your message now.
That is our message. We need all the support that we can get. And I mean, we have so many wonderful agencies in our community. Everybody needs support. We're one of this city is filled with great organizations and great people and companies who support them. But, things are finite. So
one thing that Katy brought up that I think is so interesting, you can throw so many resources, you can throw reality checks, you can throw expertise at something, and without hope, it's tough to get someone off the ground. And so what have you seen on the ground with those who work with Catholic Charities when they deal with people who are looking for a better turn in life?
We have a very passionate, dedicated staff. They work very hard to, we like to say, although walk alongside. So we're not helping, we're supporting. We're trying to get people to that independence that Katy was talking about, so that they can live their best lives, so that they can have the successes that they want for themselves. And the staff have to remain hopeful too.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the beautiful thing is, when Katy speaks, it's not just going to be the folks that Catholic Charities helps. It's not going to just be the folks that donate to Catholic Charities, but also the staff that needs constant inspiration as well. And I guess that gets to my question to you, Katy. Who have you found inspiration from along the way over the last couple of years?
That's a really great question. So many people. Ever since this accident happened, I have met a number of people who were also in car accidents, or it made me realize that there's actually a large number of spinal cord injuries due to gun violence. And I've gotten to meet a lot of those people and hear a lot of those stories. And just to see them with smiles on their faces and see them push forward. And I see a lot of them in physical therapy. I shared, a unit with some of these people that I'm talking about. And now I see them in the gym working on getting their independence back. And I often think about those people and what their struggles are like. I mean, we all have different struggles, and we're all there pushing, but it makes you feel less alone, because this can be a very isolating experience. So when you're around other people that are, in a similar situation like spinal cord injury, but, trying to find hope and get stronger. And PT, I think a lot of us just feed off of each other in that community.
As some of the viewers know, I have an eye condition called Stargardt disease. It's degenerative and eventually leads to blindness. I'm very lucky in the fact that it hit me so late. Most people who have this are legally blind by 20 years old. And it's exceptionally rare. I was at the Memorial Art Gallery over the winter doing a story. And to your point about how isolating it is, this woman came out and said, one of my coworkers would like to meet you. And she came out and she was very withdrawn initially. And she goes, you came out publicly with your disease, and I've been meaning to reach out. I just haven't known how. I was diagnosed a couple of years ago with Stargardt. And we both realized that was the first time that either of us had met another person with it.
Wow.
And it was very emotional for both of us. And I draw a tremendous amount of hope and motivation from them. And I ended up going to a conference in May, and I met a lot of people who have it, and folks who are much farther along than I am. And they're laughing it up. They're using this technology. They're talking about this device, that device, and I almost felt foolish for my own trials and tribulations. But you're absolutely right, and I'm so glad that you do have that community that's probably still growing, I'm guessing.
Sadly, yes. I oftentimes say I wish that I was the last person to ever be paralyzed, because every time someone reaches out to me and says, I have a lot of people that do this, and I'm glad, I'm happy that people reach out to me, and they'll say, my friend's son had an accident, or my sister this, or somebody they know has had an accident, and they say, we thought of you, and we thought that you might be a good person for them to talk to give them some hope and perspective. And I'm happy to be that person for anyone out there who needs it, because we really do need to know that we are not alone in our struggles.
Yeah.
And that life can go on, and it can go on to be very fulfilling and very happy. And it's not, disability is not about what you're not able to do anymore. It's about finding new ways to do the things that you love doing, and then finding more new things to love doing.
Has it inspired your music at all?
It took a while, but yes, it's starting to. I had a strange sort of disconnect from music for a while, which surprised me even, because music has been such a therapeutic part of my life. But there were a lot of things that changed that for me after this accident. And, music was actually a very physically difficult thing for me to do, because while I was paralyzed from just, I guess it's T9, so it's just about under my breastbone down. I could still move my arms fine eventually, but not at first. I could barely lift my arms at all. I had very, very little mobility in my arms, and I had a lot of nerve pain. So even just to press a piano key or press a guitar string or something, it was like sending nerve shocks up my arm. So it was really depressing for me, to be honest. At first, it was really hard, and I just thought, it's not going to look the same anymore, and it doesn't feel the same, and am I going to be able to do it? But I realized, in order to know if I'm going to be able to do it, I have to do it. And so it took a while, but eventually I started to get that feeling, that urge. And there it did. It crept right back in.
Yeah, but the amount of frustration that you had to push through to get there.
Yes. Yeah.
Incredible. Hey, Tracy, what do you think when you hear a story like that?
Life can change in a heartbeat, and it just brings it home that you just never know what the future brings. I thought about it when that happened to her. I think about it with some of our clients, who have had brain injuries and other health issues that have come up out of the blue. and it could happen to any one of us at any time.
If people do want to come to the luncheon, what should they know?
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. Katie's going to speak, and we think she's going to play. So that's very exciting, because back when I asked her to do this, she wasn't in that place yet. So I'm very happy about that. The lunch is going to be great. The conversation is going to be great, and they're going to leave inspired.
And when is it, by the way?
September 4th from 11:30 to 1, doors at 11 at the Hyatt downtown. Tickets are available online at our website.
That's great. Well, I hope you get 1 billion people.
Me too.
So, Katie, where does it go from here? I mean, obviously the doctors gave you somewhat of a grim picture or no picture at all, and here you are. I mean, where do you think this goes?
Oh, I have big plans. I have big ideas in my mind. Sometimes I have to go, all right, one at a time, one thing at a time. And for me, that's very much what it is right now, one thing at a time. And my main focus right now is still physical therapy. And I think that once I'm not going there as often, that will mean that I'm stronger, more independent, so that'll be a good thing. And I'm hoping at that point that'll open things up for me to be able to potentially play some more music. You know, I'd love to be involved with more speaking engagements and spreading the word of hope around. And I really want to draw some attention to research in paralysis. I know there's a lot of wonderful organizations out there that do that, and it's really, really important work, because there's still a lot to learn about it, and obviously there is no cure, but it's really important for people to know that there's a lot they can do for themselves in this situation if they don't lose hope, and to get better. So I feel like I have a lot of missions out there, and I'm excited to start some of them.
Absolutely, and I'm just so grateful that you are able to improve, because there are people that have a break that makes it impossible. And I'll never forget that. I think it's Christopher, is it Reeves with an S or Reeve? I can't. Reeves with an S. In that famous commercial, I was a kid at the time when it came out, and he stood up and walked, and it was, generated, but it gave people hope of what the future could bring. And then I read this article in the New Yorker that talks about nerve growth over the area of the back is unbelievably hard.
It's the hardest. What I've learned is it's the hardest place to actually regrow, and it takes the longest. It takes the longest amount of time. And my nerve regrowth was kind of unique in that it usually starts at the point of wherever your break was, your disconnect, and works its way down. And mine did the opposite. And it kind of started down and worked its way up. And so it just goes to show that each one of these injuries, as it pertains to spinal cords, are very, very unique. And it's very hard for doctors to give a definitive answer. But it's such a great feeling when you feel like you defy the odds.
Oh, I can only imagine. And the fact that, to see you walk from the wheelchair to the seat was something else. That was pretty impressive, given where you've come.
Thank you.
Is there pain?
It's pretty well managed, but yeah, I would be lying if I said there's not pain. There most definitely is. It is interesting that you do learn to sort of live with it. Unfortunately, I hate to say it like that, but you learn to live with it. You learn to manage it. You learn to ignore it. And then sometimes you just have to tell yourself it's not pain, it's just discomfort, or I have to go, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is this? And once you break your back, that's like that's a 10 and beyond. So it's, sometimes I have to go, okay, it's not that bad,
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, there's pain, there's nerve pain. And there's, if I'm being 100% honest, there's a lot of emotional pain and such that you have to work through too. And taking care of your mental health is really, really important through something like this as well. Just as important as the physical health. It's a package deal. You got to do it all.
Yeah, no, I hear that, and it sounds like your husband. It's a relationship is one thing before it's truly tested, and he sounds pretty amazing.
He is a special guy, and he deserves big kudos. And there are no words big enough for me to describe how appreciative I am for him and how much I love him. I would be in a very, very different place without him.
And so, are you doing a lot of solo things now? Is that essentially
a little bit? A couple solo things here and there. I'm sort of taking the liberty and picking and choosing the gigs I want to do right now because it's so logistically difficult.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Granted, my husband is an awesome roadie, but he is also a musician with a very busy schedule, and I want him to be able to have fun playing his gigs too. But I do need his help. So I'll do some of my own stuff, and I have some plans to do a couple cool things in the future. But like I said, the focus is the physical therapy, and I'm hoping, once I feel like I'm in a good place with that, that'll open things up for me to do some more of the things that I love again.
All right. And for those of you out there who are hoping to see her perform, maybe you missed the Hoochie and Irondequoit. At the very least, if you go to the Catholic Charities Luncheon, you might be able to watch her perform. At the very least, you will get inspired like we have been today. And Tracy, before we go, any last thoughts?
Well, I want to thank you again for having us. I want to thank Katy for doing this. This is our first. This is the first Blue and White Luncheon, and I think she's the absolute perfect inaugural keynote speaker / musician.
Well, if it's worth anything, I couldn't agree more. Katy, before we head out the door here, any last thoughts?
Oh, I just I want people to just really be kind to each other and mindful, especially if you see someone who is, I hate the word disabled because putting the word dis in front of it just sounds like you're taking something away from that person. But I want people to be mindful that those people are just as able as anyone else out there to do any of the things that they want to do, and to just spread kindness, spread hope, and I'm really looking forward to speaking at the luncheon and talking about my Eat the Cake philosophy as well, which is just, do the things that you love to do and do them bravely and without regret, because oftentimes you want that piece of cake, but you go, no, I shouldn't, and I say, just do it.
Hear, hear. I'm a cake eater,
So go for it.
There will be cake at the luncheon.
Nice transition, Tracy. Well, thank you. Katy Eberts, Tracy Croft, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. And if you haven't yet, tell your family and your friends about this really cool streaming app that we have. We've got great content like this and other stuff from all of the people here at News 8. Thanks again for watching. Have a great one.